when Americans were watching that debate the other night, you weren't on the stage. What gives?
Well, yeah, and it's not just a plan; it's a piece of legislation, all scored up and in the hopper. And the problem is this: I read over the summer. I read Franz Kafka's The Trial. It might have been prescient on my part. So here's how this thing works: the media sets the criteria to get in the debates, and then they get the criteria they want to get in whoever they care to have participate, because they're not about substance; they're about spectacle. And as you watch what they do to my fellow Republicans, if they do that in the debate, now there's not a whole lot of time for real substantive policy discussion, any ideas. It's all about who said what and what do you say about that. And in the end, it tends to paint the Republican Party in the light the media wants us. It also shows how far they will go to try to limit the choices of the Republican primary field. Now, I say this understanding that they can do what they want. There's a First Amendment, but they're doing a disservice to the voters. I understand that right now, I'm on track to be the first sitting member of Congress running for President of the United States that was shut out of all debates.
And that's got to be a little frustrating. And I think when you say it's a disservice to the public, I agree with it. I mean, why? I mean, and I know they apply standards based on polling numbers and things like that, but that's really sort of it's a self-licking ice cream cone in that you don't let the candidate get out there and talk and insert his ideas into the debate, because this is happening with Gary Johnson, who's another announced candidate, former governor of New Mexico. And whatever, the listening audience may think of you or any of the other candidates or Mr. Johnson, if we're going to have a debate, then we're going to call it a debate. You would think that we would want all points of view. Everybody who's in this race, let's put them all together on stage. Let's pepper them with questions and see what comes of it. That's what I think the expectation is from the public, and yet not everybody's there. There's voices missing.
Well, it's worse than that in this sense, because it's Kafkaesque. What they'll tell you is, I've just seen 2 new polls put out today where I'm not even listed in the questions. And then the media will tell you, well, if you don't have an arbitrary poll number, then you can't be in the debate. So my answer is, well, you don't cover me. I get that part. But how can I get a poll number if I'm not listed in your poll?
Yeah, that would seem to be the problem. I mean, and it's almost orchestrated.
It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. And one of these is planning in October. One of the groups that did this is planning an October debate where they're already telling us it don't look like you'll qualify, and because you don't have the poll numbers that we need. And I'm like, you're not putting me in your own polling.
Let's move on to another issue that's come up in the debate, the vaccination issue. You've been following this. This has been a bit of a kerfuffle, I guess, between Representative Bachmann and Governor Perry. Governor Perry issuing an executive order about the vaccinations. Bachmann saying she doesn't like the executive order. Also going a little further and suggesting that these vaccinations are risky and could cause mental retardation. What's your take on this issue?
Well, I know is that I'm a federally elected official, and if elected President of the United States, I will not force parents to go against their beliefs to have mandatory vaccines. This is why we have a federal republic. States can make their determinations. I believe Governor Perry said that he had made a mistake in doing that. And so I would think that anybody elected president out of the current field of presidential contenders on our side, on the Republican side, is not going to be doing that.
What else do you see as being the major issues of the debate? Obviously, Social Security, vaccinations, but it seems, according to all the polls, the economy is the number one issue.
Bless you. I mean, that's. I'm from Detroit. Bless you. Believe me. The number one issue is there's 2 outstanding debt issues. One is the federal debt. I addressed that with, again, putting forward a piece of legislation on Social Security that reduces the long-term debt and spending of the United States government to historic levels. And then I also believe you have to fix the failed Wall Street bailout banks to get the economy moving, because credit markets and capital access are killing this economy. And you realize you're still bailing out the Wall Street banks right now, don't you? Through what the Federal Reserve is doing, through their ability to purchase government notes without any money, any capital. And we're paying for that, and it's degrading the value of your savings. It's still going on as we speak, and not a single one of those people on the stage is talking about how to fix it. I have a plan to fix that. I deal with Communist China as a strategic threat rival model of governance. I'm not talking about simple trade practice. They're out to be the number one country in the 21st century, and I have a problem with a communist nuclear-armed dictatorship doing that. But these are the types of things that evidently the CNN or some of the other ones don't seem to want to have on their debate stage, like a real difference of policy amongst Republicans.
Let me ask you this question about the Wall Street banks. How do we fix that problem? What's the McCotter plan for fixing that issue?
It's the same thing we should have done at the time, and it's the same thing Europe better do now, or they're going to go down the TARP road too, is you have to have a real stress test. Those that are not healthy have to go through restructured, prepackaged bankruptcy, and the ones that still can't be saved have to go through and broken up and have their assets put in a resolution trust corp, just like with the savings and loans. Their leverage limits have to be such that they can never get too big to fail. You can make all the money you want, but you can't debt leverage yourself where you crash on working people's backs and expect them to bail you out and pay for it. I think you have to have segmentation to keep their foreign subsidiaries from evading U.S. law. And finally, you have to end the entire repugnant concept of too big to fail, because in America, the only thing too big to fail is the people.
Essentially, what you're talking about is bringing consequences. Because that seems to me what's going on here is there's no consequences. It's just do what you want, and then the government will back your play. We'll be the backstop. The taxpayers will be the backstop, and they can do whatever they want. And there's no consequences. Is that what you're just bringing consequences into the equation?
Well, it's sanity, because the economy is the number one issue, and if you don't fix that problem, if you continue to go along, get along, and remember, President Obama supported the Wall Street bailout. Don't forget that. Don't let him forget that.
Congressman, are we going to see you? I know there's another debate coming up, Fox News and Google. Are you going to be part of that debate?
It's up to them.
It's up to them. Unfortunately. I hope you are, to be honest with you. But in case you're not, where can our listeners go to find out more about you and your plans? McCotter2012.com for my campaign. And then if you're looking on the Social Security legislation in particular, it's on the official site as a piece of official legislation. It's on mccotter.house.gov. All right. Way to go. Appreciate it, and appreciate your time, Congressman.
Thank you very much.